On our third wedding anniversary, I waited for 5 hours at Zhou Shiyan's favorite Michelin restaurant. But he was out of contact again. Finally, I saw it on his childhood sweetheart's moments. He accompanied her to Antarctica. Just because I was in a bad mood, he stood up the whole world to keep me company. Turns out childhood sweethearts are more healing than penguins. In the picture, it's freezing cold, but he's gently holding her. I suddenly felt tired, no longer painfully questioning, no longer hysterically crying. I just calmly gave a like and sent him 3 words. After a long time he sent a voice message. The tone is teasing. The favored one is always fearless. It turns out he didn't believe it at all. No one is indispensable to anyone else, it's just that they are still in love. But from now on I don't want to love you anymore. I ate alone in the restaurant. My stomach is full but my heart feels empty. Back home I printed the divorce agreement. Just as I was about to sign, my phone vibrated. Lin Jiji sent a screen recording. She and Zhou Shiyan stood side by side on the deck of the luxury cruise ship. On the other end of the video their mutual friend kept praising them. Antarctica trip. That starts at 100,000. Has brother Zhou ever taken Xiaji on a trip that cost even 10,000? Love follows money. Xiaji didn't make a fuss this time and even liked it? Lin Jiji said in a coquettish voice. She did make a fuss, she mentioned divorce to Su Bai. The person on the other end of the video clicked their tongue in surprise. Xiaji used to just make small troubles at most, but she actually dared to mention divorce? It's not for real, is it? Of course not. Zhou Shiyan's tone was indifferent. Just wants me to go back and keep her company. I was going back anyway, but I hate being threatened the most. Might as well spend a few more days playing with Gigi. His eyes were filled with coldness. When he reached out to tidy Lin Jiji's wind-blown hair, he softened. Their mutual friends across from them shouted, "Pity again," and began to jeer. "Zhou, why don't you just go with the flow and get together with Xia Zhili? Who doesn't know she was only able to be with you back then because of Gigi? Now that Gigi is back, what's it got to do with her? Yeah, Gigi, look at brother Zhou, he's a senior executive with $1 million annual salary now, and his feelings for you have never changed." Zhou Shiyan's Adam's apple bobbed and he was about to speak. Lin Jiji suddenly buried her head in his chest. "Su Yan, quickly tell them to stop talking, or they'll insult our pure friendship. Also, it's normal for housewives to overthink, so just let her be. Otherwise, I'll become a sinner for eternity." Something seemed to extinguish in Zhou Shiyan's eyes. He forced a wry smile. "Don't worry, we won't get divorced. Xiaji has no home without me. She wouldn't dare." I looked at him standing at the end of the world. Looking at this man who knew my weakness and trampled on it without restraint. I finally understand that we have truly reached the end. But why does my heart still feel like it's been twisted, a mix of soreness and swelling, and indescribable discomfort? Probably because I had always seen him as light and salvation. In my sophomore year, Zhou Shiyan, a first-year graduate student, confessed his feelings to me. He's the popular guy at school and the object of my secret crush. As for me, my mother passed away early and after. No need to give me gifts and no need to celebrate anniversaries anymore. He paused slightly, looking a little annoyed. "Xiaji, is it really necessary to be so petty? Gigi is my friend of many years. She's back in the country to heal from a breakup. I can't just abandon her. Can you please stop being so unreasonable?" My fingers unconsciously stroked the doll in my arms. There was only a subtle ache in my heart. He seems to have forgotten that I also like penguins. Since coming to Shanghai, I've suggested going to the aquarium to see the penguins with him many times. But that workaholic of his never has time. Yet with just one word from Lin Jiji, he can drop everything and accompany her to Antarctica. So it turns out he wasn't short on time, but unwilling to spend his time and attention on me. Seeing my silence, he assumed I was compromising as always. He raised his hand and ruffled my hair. "I'm hungry." These 3 words used to be like a switch. As long as he asked, I would fulfill his every wish, busying myself in the kitchen for him, But now the happy domesticity I thought we had was just an illusion. I said softly, "I'm tired, I don't want to cook." He was slightly taken aback, his brow furrowing unconsciously. The next second he relented and pulled me into his arms. "Then I'll eat you first." Warm breath brushed against my ear as his kisses trailed down, lingering at my lips. He knows I crave love, knows I'm most greedy for his warmth. I thought, as in the past, that a quarrel at the head of the bed could be resolved by the foot of the bed, and everything could be turned over. Instinctively shuddering, I pushed him away. My heart was cold, so how could my body be willing to ignite for him again? I turned and took out the divorce agreement. "You said you'd be back to sign. Sign here." His face finally turned completely cold. "If Gigi hadn't been kind-hearted and advised me not to bother with you, do you think I would have come back so soon? You're almost 30 and you're still jealous like a little girl all day long, and you're getting more and more shameless. Aren't you embarrassed? Threatening me with divorce, huh? I'll show you what backfiring really means." He signed his name with a vengeance, the force nearly piercing the paper. Then he booked the divorce appointment on his phone. "If you've got the guts, don't come begging me to cancel it outside the Civil Affairs Bureau in a month." He slammed the door and went into the second bedroom. Meanwhile, Lin Gigi updated her WeChat moments. In the 9-square grid selfie, she radiates with health and beauty. The 28-year-old me in the mirror, however, looks haggard with hair like withered grass. In fact, I am 3 years younger than her. But in Zhou Xuyan's words, she is the little girl who needs to be pampered and indulged. That makes sense. The right kind of love is a silent, nurturing force. The wrong kind of love is a quiet, insidious destruction. Fortunately, this mistake will soon be over. Zhou Xian started giving me the cold shoulder. He came home later and later, went straight into the spare bedroom, and there was zero communication between us. In the past, I would always be the first to back down, but not this time. Lin Gigi's WeChat moments are updated with news about him every day. Those words and photos were ambiguous, almost crossing the line. But unlike in the past, they didn't make me go crazy with pain and lose my mind. I just calmly darkened the screen and focused my gaze on the full notebook. Without revolving around him, I have a lot more time. In between studying, I went around to explore different places. In the evening, I booked a table at the revolving restaurant in the Oriental Pearl Tower. Dining here, you slowly rotate around, overlooking a charming corner of the bustling city. I originally wanted to come to such a romantic place with Zhou Xian, but he was never free. So, having been in the city for 7 years, there are still too many unfinished items on my bucket list. Before leaving, I decided to complete the checklist alone. Unexpectedly, in the revolving restaurant, I saw the person I least wanted to see. Lin Gigi. Zhou Xian sat across from her, even his back view exuded gentleness. I stared blankly at the message, something I used to beg for but never received. But there was no joy, only irony. In the phone there was a video just sent by Lin Gigi. In the lively private room they were playing the game, I Have Never. All were friends who grew up together, their life trajectories too similar. After several rounds it was hard to tell who was winning. Lin Gigi suddenly hooked Zhou Xian's collar, pulled him closer and kissed him. I've kissed Xian, who else? No one, right? I win. She hugged Zhou Xian's arm, flashing a happy V sign. This princess is only using Xian's mouth because of my damn competitive spirit. Don't misunderstand our friendship, everyone. I only looked at him in the video. Together for 10 years he has always been at ease, rational and calm. I had never seen him so nervous and flustered, even the tips of his ears were red. So he did have intense emotions, but they never belonged to me. I remembered Lin Gigi showing off to me once. They grew up together, he used to buy her breakfast, walk her home, write her poems, get into fights for her. Do all the fiery, passionate things. I just don't understand, if she really doesn't love him, why does she keep sending messages to provoke and irritate me? Even taking the initiative to kiss him. If I can't figure it out, then I won't think about it. From now on, I don't want to waste my life on irrelevant people. I was busy studying and checking in at various places around the city. On the day I was leaving, I went to Disneyland. Unexpectedly, I ran into Zhou Xiyan and Lin Jiji again. "Xiaji, why are you stalking me again?" Lin Jiji looked very puzzled. "Since you love Xiyan, you have to accept that he values friendship first and love second. We're just friends hanging out. Please don't misunderstand." Here we go again, always with this subtle, suggestive talk, trying to provoke me into losing my composure. I couldn't be bothered to pay attention and turned to leave. Zhou Xiyan stopped me. "Since we've run into each other, let's hang out together." After a moment of surprise, I understood. A man's sudden concern is sometimes not love but guilt. That kiss between him and Lin Jiji was after all a transgression. "Xiyan, I want to eat ice cream." After sending Zhou Xiyan away, Lin Jiji looked at me with unkind eyes. "You really are a persistent ghost. He only wants you to stay out of pity. The person he truly loves is me." I finally asked the question that had been bothering me. "If you only see him as a friend, why do you care who he loves?" Lin Jiji scoffed. "Back then he wasn't good enough for me, but now he's become so outstanding, he's finally worthy of me. Why would a man cherish you when you're so eager? Only by being aloof like this will he always be crazy about me. I know you've scheduled a divorce appointment for today. Be a good girl and go get the paperwork done, or you'll see what I'm capable of." Before I could witness her methods, the crowd suddenly stirred. Two men who had a conflict while waiting in line were fighting. The robust body crashed over rapidly. Not far away, Zhou Xiyan dropped the ice cream in his hand. "Jiji." His eyes were full of tension as he sprinted over. In an instant, Lin Jiji beside me was pulled into his arms, avoiding the impact. And I was knocked to the ground, the warm blood obscuring my vision. So the Jiji he was calling out to was her. I should have known. I went to the hospital alone to bandage the wound, and Zhou Xiyan rushed over as I was leaving. He opened the passenger door and unceremoniously stuffed me inside. Lin Jiji fainted at the sight of blood just now. I settled her down and came as quickly as I could. While waiting for the traffic light, he tapped his fingers lightly on the steering wheel and opened his mouth as if he had made up his mind. "It's true that I've been neglecting you, but when you were in trouble just now, I realized that the most important person to me isn't Lin Jiji but you. Jiji, let's go and cancel the divorce together. I won't let you suffer any grievances in the future." The wound throbbed faintly and I was a little dazed. Zhou Xiyan finally decided to choose me firmly, and that Jiji was finally calling me. This would probably have made me burst into tears of joy in the past. But it's too late. I will never forget in times of crisis. The one he rushed to was not me. "Happy to the point of being silly?" He chuckled and ruffled my hair. "I have another surprise for you tonight, something you've always wanted." "Really?" "But Zhou Xiyan, what I want now is just to leave you." The car had just stopped outside the Civil Affairs Bureau when his phone rang. It was Lin Jiji's exclusive ringtone. "Xiyan, I think someone is following me, I'm so scared." He hesitated for a moment, then still stuffed the documents into my hands. "You go cancel it first, I'll be right back. I only see her as a good friend now, you have to believe me." "Okay," I said calmly. So calmly as if this wasn't the last time we'd see each other. After getting the divorce certificate, I took one last look around this place I'd lived in for 7 years. This place, which I once thought was home, has slowly become a shackle that confines me. After a moment, I placed Zhou Xiyan's certificate on the desk. There was also a USB drive, a surprise I had prepared for him. Perhaps a fright. After all, besides Lin Jiji's sickening true face, there were also the secrets of his rapid promotion over the years. Even if I were to leave, I never intended to let them off the hook. If I let them go, how could I be worthy of the decade I spent deceived and trapped in pain? Before dark, I turned and left, never looking back. "Suyen, I'm really scared, come over here quickly." Lin Jiji hung up the phone, instantly concealing her panicked expression. She snorted coldly and dialed another number. "How is it?" Has that bitch Xiaoji completed the procedures yet? The voice on the other end of the phone was ingratiating. Don't worry, Sister Gigi. I've been watching since you told me to. After Vice President Zhou left, that bitch got her divorce certificate really smoothly. They won't have anything to do with each other in the future. Hearing this, Lin Gigi felt overjoyed. Her face was full of joy. It's lucky that bitch Xiaoji knew what was good for her, thank you. If the person opposite hadn't been watching, she wouldn't have been able to time it so accurately. To distract Zhou Xian so promptly. Actually, this is a bit redundant, because she couldn't be more confident that Zhou Xian loves her. He's been her simp since childhood. She heard that he personally made the appointment for the divorce. She only decided to get rid of him for the sake of being cautious. After all, she had a vague sixth sense that Zhou Xian seemed to have changed a bit. But it didn't matter, a little wavering was nothing. Since the divorce was a foregone conclusion, Lin Gigi believed that as long as she used a little trickery, she could still coax Zhou Xian into being completely devoted to her. Sister Ji, there's no need to be so polite with me. The other person's tone was warm and friendly. With Vice President Zhou, I'll have to trouble you to say good things about me in the future. My future depends on you. Don't worry. Lin Gigi stated with an arrogant tone. She never imagined that Zhou Xian, who had a similar humble background as her, could have developed so well now. The youngest vice president of a listed company, with an annual salary of over $1 million and shares in hand. When her dream of marrying a rich man abroad shattered, she learned that her childhood sweetheart was no longer the same as before. Surprise mixed with delight. This was a better catch than her dead ex. So what if Zhou Xian was already married? With a little trickery, everything was developing in the direction she had predicted. This man, she was determined to have him. By the time Zhou Xian arrived, Lin Gigi was already fantasizing about him proposing to her and holding a grand wedding. She couldn't help but laugh. Zhou Xian raised his eyebrows, a little suspicious. Gigi, you said someone was following you? Where are these people? Lin Gigi came back to her senses. Oh dear, luckily this princess is clever and got rid of them. She naturally took Zhou Xian's arm. But I was so scared just now, my heart was racing. Can you rub it for me? My knight. Zhou Xian subconsciously raised his hand. But he stopped abruptly just before touching her chest. If you're not feeling well, I'll take you to see a doctor. Lin Gigi looked at him with interest, assuming he was just shy. After all, when she made excuses to kiss him, he turned as red as a ripe shrimp. It's funny to say, a man who's been married for so many years is still so innocent. Looks like he really loves her to the core. I was just scared, I don't want to go to the hospital, just keep me company and help me relax. She blinked her eyes, looking at Zhou Xian pitifully. He had been slightly suspicious that she might have made up the story about being followed, but he still softened his heart. Lin Gigi grew up with him since childhood and is the kindest person. How could she do such a thing? Okay, I'll take you to a place. Lin Gigi asked curiously, where are we going? A smile suddenly appeared in Zhou Xian's eyes. I want to send out a surprise and you can help me see the effect. Surprise. Looking at Zhou Xian's mysterious and slightly smiling expression, Lin Gigi also smiled. Whose surprise could it be but hers? She's only been back in the country for less than 2 months, and he's already spoiling her rotten. The most outrageous time, she just sent him an emo penguin emoji, and he immediately planned a trip to Antarctica. Speaking of which, growing up, the only person who could love and spoil her unconditionally like this and for so long was Zhou Xian. Fortunately, after all the twists and turns, they didn't miss each other. Alright, this princess will give you a once-over and offer some critique. Zhou Xian drove Lin Gigi to an upscale residential area. He scanned his face, and the community gate opened automatically with the security guard greeting him with a smile. Lin Gigi's heart suddenly began to race. This neighborhood is all large apartments, with a unit price of 200,000 per square meter. It is truly a luxury residence. especially the building known as the King of Buildings, facing the Huangpu River with a direct view of Shanghai's most iconic Oriental Pearl Tower trio. When the lights come on at dusk, it's simply breathtaking. As for why she knows so much about it, that's because she had seen the promotional video. She was tempted at the time. Unfortunately, you have to verify your assets before you can even view the property, and your assets must start at 10 million. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the club. Hurry, we're just waiting for you two. Let's start the game now. The bottle spun around and after a few turns, it stopped in front of Zhou Xiyan. Truth. A friend exchanged glances with Lin Jiji and asked the question. Zhou Gu was originally a pretty chill person, but later he worked so hard to achieve success. Could it be for someone? How many characters are in this person's name? Zhou Xiyan was slightly stunned. He remembered the day his childhood sweetheart Lin Jiji went abroad and he mustered up the courage to confess his feelings. But he overheard her telling her best friend that she liked outstanding people. Going abroad, I also hoped to meet someone like that. At that time he knew he had no chance as he was. So he started working hard and even got into a prestigious graduate school, but it was too late. She announced her boyfriend. It felt like years of dreams collapsing and he had a suffocating feeling. So, like a drowning person grasping at a straw, he latched onto her, feeling that she was somewhat similar to Lin Jiji, even their names sounding alike. But he always held back a surge of energy, wanting to prove to Lin Jiji that he was excellent. Now he has done it. 3 words. He didn't avoid that part of the past. But that was already in the past. Zhou Xiyan thought, might as well clarify it now. The past is 3 words, but the future, the one who makes me want to be better and stronger, is 2 words, Xiaji. Suddenly there was silence. Everyone looked at him in astonishment, then suddenly turned to look at Lin Jiji's reaction. She hadn't expected it at all. But she quickly realized that maybe he was too tired from chasing her, and wanted to use a tactical retreat to provoke her. But she was much more experienced than him. That's great, I knew we were just friends. Lin Jiji smiled as if she was about to give her blessings. But suddenly, after glancing at her phone, she covered her lips in surprise. A friend of mine passed by the Civil Affairs Bureau and said Xiaji went to get a divorce certificate today? Xian, are you divorced? What? Zhou Xiyan's pupils shrank suddenly, but after reacting he regained his composure. He explained with a smile. This is a misunderstanding. The divorce was just a spur-of-the-moment decision. We've already reconciled. Originally, I was going to accompany Xiaji to withdraw the divorce. But Xiji had something to do, so I let her go alone. It would have been better if he hadn't explained. The more he explained, the heavier the atmosphere became. The astonishment on everyone's faces was completely unmasked. Even Lin Jiji felt flustered. Right, Jiji, in order to differentiate from now on, I can't call you that anymore, or should I call you Little Ji in the future? I don't want Xiaji to be unhappy. From now on when I say Jiji I mean my wife. Don't get it wrong everyone. Zhou Gu, are you serious? Finally someone reacted. Didn't you always like Jiji the most? Could it be that you've fallen in love with Xiaji? Yes. Zhou Xiyan's expression was calm. I did once consider Xiaoji the most important person. But it wasn't until Jiji was injured that I realized I had unknowingly fallen in love with her long ago. She shared hardships with me and walked with me for 10 years. I will cherish her from now on. And Xiaoji will always be my friend, my good sister. Everyone, please stop joking about us in the future. Silence, deathly silence. Mainly it was too unexpected. No one could have imagined that Zhou Xiyan would change so quickly. Perhaps the human heart is the most fickle thing in this world. Lin Jiji also clenched her palms tightly, barely able to control her expression. At this moment she had only one thought. Thank goodness she followed her sixth sense and managed to distract him in time. Fortunately, their divorce is a foregone conclusion. But she still couldn't believe that Zhou Xiyan would change his mind so easily. It should just be guilt and sympathy. Sometimes men simply can't distinguish between pity and love. It must be so. Don't panic, she told herself silently. At such a crucial moment she can't afford to lose her composure. She pouted. That's right, don't you all start a commotion like that again in the future. Xian and I were just good friends to begin with, it's pure friendship. I've almost shouted myself hoarse, but no one believed me in the past. Now that's settled, everyone should believe me now, right? It's getting late, so you should hurry back and keep Xiaji company. Lin Jiji took Zhou Xian's hand, almost interlocking their fingers. Then she pushed him out the door. Hurry up, if Xiaji misunderstands again I won't take the blame. Zhou Xian subconsciously wanted to pull his hand away. But listening to Lin Jiji's words he ultimately did nothing. Lin Jiji has always had the heart of a child and treats him as a friend, so he shouldn't be too sensitive. In fact, these so-called mutual friends were all bought off by Lin Jiji. After more than 10 years abroad, her efforts to marry into a wealthy family ultimately failed. Although it's regrettable, I've also gained a lot of experience. So this time when she returned to China, she was determined to seize every advantage. She carefully wove a web. How could Zhou Xian possibly escape? Zhou Xian returned to his familiar home. In the past when he came home he could often hear the sound of the range hood in the kitchen. He would see that busy figure wearing an apron. He would feel inexplicably at ease. But now the house is cold and empty. He searched every room but couldn't find the figure he was looking for. After thinking for a moment, Zhou Xian started making a call. Unexpectedly, the other end was constantly engaged in a call. Constantly engaged. Another possibility is being blocked. He suddenly thought of Lin Jiji's words and the divorce she mentioned, and an inexplicable sense of panic arose. He checked every room again trying to find clues. This time he finally saw something on the desk. A small dark red notebook with a USB drive pressed on top. An ominous premonition arose, and his heart suddenly began to beat rapidly. As he walked over step by step, his fingers trembled slightly without him realizing it. It can't be. He consoled himself as he walked to the desk. However, on the dark red booklet, the words, "divorce certificate," seared his eyes like a merciless branding iron. His hands trembling, he opened it and clearly saw the names on it. An endless sense of bewilderment and despair suddenly surged in my heart. Weren't we supposed to go cancel the divorce? Why is there a divorce certificate? Right, that USB drive. Maybe the answer is inside. He hurriedly plugged it into the computer. But after seeing the content clearly, it was as if the blood in his whole body was flowing backward. Not only shock but also anger. And an overwhelming sense of cold, even fear. It's over. Subconsciously, only these two words remained in my mind. The phone rang abruptly at this moment. "Gigi, is that you?" Zhou Xian answered immediately, almost blurting out the words. "Mr. Zhou, we're calling to ask if you're still coming for your 6:30 reservation as it's already 7 o'clock? It turned out to be a call from the Michelin-starred restaurant. Zhou Xian only felt deeply disappointed. "I'm not coming." After saying that, he hung up the phone directly. It was utterly rude. Over the years he has grown rapidly and has long since learned to handle all kinds of situations with ease. Always presentable. But at this moment he was too tired. The contents of that USB drive made him suddenly feel like everything had collapsed. He once thought that the beautiful childhood sweetheart Lin Jiji's true face was actually like that. He once thought that his wife, who would always wait for him and love him, had left him just like that. She even left behind that content that was enough to ruin him. And a document. There were only 4 words inside. Zhou Xian understood what it meant. If he persisted, what awaited him might be the exposure of those fatal contents. But why? Clearly he already knew his own heart. Clearly he had already firmly stated, "Mrs. Zhou, don't you hate Zhou Xian for cheating? If you report him with this material, not only will he be ruined, but you will also have the opportunity to get a large share of the property. This is all you deserve." In the coffee shop, I looked at the man with a calculating look on his face behind his glasses. "Why are you helping me? Or rather, what role are you playing in this matter? The man didn't mince words. I'm over 40 and I've been with the company for over a decade. That vice president position should have been mine. While competition is fair game, his methods were a bit underhanded. Now, whistleblowing requires using your real name and I still need to work in this industry. So it's most suitable for you, the person closest to him, to initiate it. So Mrs. Zhou, think about it. My patience is limited and if you're not willing I can find someone else. It's a bit of a hassle but at least it still achieves the goal. It's just hard to say how much of the inheritance you'll get then. After leaving the coffee shop that day, I spent a long time looking at the contents of the USB drive. I've never worked, but just as the trajectory of history is always surprisingly similar, the logic of many things is actually the same. Especially when I saw that the timestamps of those events matched up with the moments when he was most proud of himself in reality. I know that man didn't lie to me. After confirming this fact, there is still some surprise, even some sadness. I do love Zhou Xian, but not just because I lack love. It's in our daily interactions that I've come to know just how wonderful he is. What initially moved me, besides his confession, was his underlying kindness. He has many admirers, but he always uses the most dignified way to reject them, firm yet gentle. I once saw on the confession wall that when he rejected a girl, he pointed out her professional confusion. The girl said that even though she couldn't be with him, she was still grateful because he helped her become a better version of herself. Even the most aloof stray cats at school have a good relationship with him, because he often feeds them. He even uses a falsetto when he talks to the cats. It wasn't until graduation that I learned he had been sponsoring underprivileged students in mountainous areas for a long time. His family wasn't wealthy either, but he persevered. For many years he never made it known. And yet, this very person became unscrupulous in his pursuit of climbing the ladder. Some regrets, but I know the reason. Knowing why saves him from being so unrecognizable. It's because of Lin Jiji. That is Zhou Xian's obsession that he can't let go of in his heart. He wanted to prove himself to her too much. So, when he realized that following the rules would never lead to success, he finally decided to take a shortcut. It's true that he worked desperately hard, and it's also true that he was unscrupulous. But no matter the circumstances, wrong is wrong. As for the content about Lin Jiji, I received an anonymous email. The IP address was from abroad. It was a wife who detested Lin Jiji for being a mistress, yet pretentiously called her husband her boyfriend. Even faking an engagement, using every means to try to climb to the top. The story is wonderful, and Lin Jiji has done many things that shatter conventional values. And those photos and videos prove that she has been a homewrecker more than once. I learned that Lin Jiji has returned to China again, wanting to ruin my marriage. The original wife righteously said, "I hope you can use this content. I will not let this bitch get away with it." Really came in handy. On this day when I finally decided to leave. These days, the more I think about how Zhou Xian is blind and heartless, liking such a terrible woman, the more I feel that I am also blind. Thinking again about the things he did, the emotional wounds that I thought would bother me for a long time seem to be just so. I'll wait and see what happens between Zhou Xian and Lin Jiji. I don't mind giving them a push at a crucial moment. But what's more important right now is to get back on my original life track. The second day after arriving in Jing City, I went to see the teacher and took the exam. Then I waited in the conference room for the teacher to grade the papers and announce the results. Half an hour later, the teacher pushed the door open and entered. There wasn't a trace of a smile on her face, and her brow was slightly furrowed. "I can see that you've done your best, but you've wasted 7 years. How could you possibly make up for such a gap in just 1 month? I'm sorry, but with your current level, you're not qualified to join us." Actually, judging from her expression, I had already guessed this would be the result. There is still some disappointment in my heart. After all, I have been working very hard to pick up everything from the past. But as the teacher said, it's been so long. If I could join so easily, it might be unfair to those who have been persevering all along. Anything else to say? The teacher's voice was devoid of emotion, coldly watching me. Still, thank you, Teacher Jean, for giving me the opportunity. It's a pity that I didn't pass this exam. But the exam of life isn't over yet and I won't give up. Teacher Jean raised an eyebrow at me. Oh, how do you plan to not give up? I've seen that your lab occasionally has openings, and I will prepare diligently for the next one. So determined. But I remember you were also very determined when you gave up your postgraduate recommendation to leave with your boyfriend. Are you sure you won't go back to him? No more. I said softly but firmly. Some walls you have to hit them yourself to know they're not right. I won't look back. I already know what I've truly given up and lost, and now I just want to get them back little by little. And find myself again. Teacher Jean looked at me steadily. Neither of us spoke. After a moment of silence, she laughed. The written test is the first step and you passed the interview just now as well. Xiaji, welcome to the lab. I was really surprised that things would take such a positive turn. I was so excited that I stood up straight away. Professor Jean, are you saying I passed? Yes. She looked at me with a smile, her expression actually tinged with regret but more with relief. Xiaji, I had faith in you back in college. I thought you were very talented. I wasn't wrong after all. After wasting 7 years, you caught up in just 1 month. Such a miracle, probably only you could achieve it. But if we let you come back easily, how would you know to cherish it? So we added a new interview. This time I really need to do a good job. I breathed a long sigh of relief. Thank you, Teacher Jean, I definitely will. Back in the lab I felt awkward at first. Soon I was in my element. The more I felt this way, the more I lamented how foolish I had been. To actually abandon the field I truly loved and excelled in, insisting on pinning my entire future on another person. Fortunately, it's not too late. I joined a project and due to my lack of experience I was mainly assisting. I worked very hard, didn't mind the workload and learned quickly. Gradually, those who had some misunderstandings about me changed their views. This project was in collaboration with Xingjing Group. After the first phase was completed, they sent a director to inspect and accept it. Looking at the 4 characters of Xingjing Group, I felt a little dazed for a moment. The world is vast, yet sometimes it feels so small. Zhou Xuyan and I went to university in Jing City, and after graduation he once wanted to stay here. His first choice was Xingjing Group. But later he made up his mind to go to Shanghai. At first I didn't know why until Lin Jiji came back. I realized that Shanghai held their best memories. They had been there together many times and Lin Jiji joked when she was a child that she wanted to settle down there. That's why he tried so hard to take root there, even though she had been gone for many years. He always wanted to prove that he could give her what she wanted. The funny thing is, I always thought he was working hard for our future. I snapped out of my thoughts and looked up to find someone staring at me intently. It was Xing Shizhou, the director of Xingjing Group. He was young, with an inherent noble air about his brows and eyes that was hard to conceal. He also gave off a cold feeling. But the look in his eyes when he looked at me inexplicably held a hint of warmth. I'm sorry, Miss Xiao, have we met somewhere before? He hesitated for a moment, but ultimately asked the question. I was stunned for a moment. Listening to his deep but not impolite voice, I understood that this was definitely not a pickup line, but a genuine question. So I couldn't help but look at him more closely. Upon closer inspection he seemed even more handsome. But I was also very sure that if I had really met such an outstanding person, I shouldn't have no impression at all. I said politely, President Xing, I don't think so. So this little episode quickly passed. Xingjing Group was very satisfied with the results of the first phase of the project. After confirming several important node directions with each other, everything will continue to move forward. After the meeting, colleagues couldn't help but talk about it. Only then did I realize that this project director Xing Shizhou was the future heir of the Xingjing Group. After graduating, he started from the grassroots level and worked his way up to the position of director. He is usually the most indifferent person, never talking about anything other than work. It's really strange. Even if he really saw someone who looked a lot like you with President Xing's personality, he wouldn't have brought it up specifically during a meeting, right? Yeah, President Xing is very fair and impartial. Could it be that he's interested in you? How could that be? President Xing already has a fiancé and he's extremely self-disciplined, with absolutely no scandals. Since they weren't particularly gossipy people and they had work to do, they only discussed it casually. Then they each returned to their own positions. I didn't take it too seriously either. Xing Shizhou had only asked me one question, and his subsequent behavior was perfectly normal. Besides, he's engaged. So, for me there's no problem. It's just a very simple working relationship. We've been busy in the lab for a long time, focusing on the second phase direction of the project. We didn't even notice it was past lunchtime. Xia Ji. The project team leader came in from outside, carrying a few takeout boxes in his hand. Always calm, his tone was uncharacteristically stuttering. Someone's looking for you. Looking for me? I was a little surprised. I haven't been in Jing City for long and I don't have any friends here. Did they say who it was? I was a little wary. Could it be Zhou Xian? It's Mrs. Sheng. Huh. I didn't react for a moment. The President Sheng's wife who came today? No, Director Xing is only just engaged and doesn't have a wife yet. It's his mother, the wife of the president of Xingjing Group. I was completely bewildered. Why would Mrs. Xing be looking for me? I arrived at the lab door in a daze and saw an elegant lady sitting in a luxury car, looking around expectantly. As soon as she saw me, she got out of the car excitedly. I'm Shufan, that is, your mother's friend. She grabbed me, looked me up and down, and soon her eyes welled up with tears. Seeing my surprised expression, she forcibly restrained her emotions. Sorry I startled you a bit like this. Xiaji, right? I don't know if you're free now? Or when it's convenient for you, let's have a meal together and chat, okay? Auntie has a lot to say to you. As a friend of Mom, of course I have time. After saying hello to the team leader, I got into Mrs. Sheng's car. Along the way I quickly figured out the whole story. It turned out that this Mrs. Sheng was actually Mom's best friend. Two girls who grew up together in an orphanage relied on each other for survival and mutual support. When they were adopted separately, communication was not yet advanced, so they agreed to meet again at the orphanage in 10 years. Shufan is the most trustworthy person, she must have gone. But I couldn't keep the appointment. I was locked up by my adoptive parents at that time. They wanted to sell me to an old widower in the village for a bride price. So I had to escape far away. Mrs. Xing, with tears in her eyes, began to talk about that past. The early days were very hard, but later she met her husband. The two joined hands and founded the current Xingjing Group. After things stabilized, Mrs. Xing wanted to find my mother. I just learned from my dad that the person she was looking for had passed away a long time ago. And my dad knew about my mom's background, perhaps thinking that most of my mom's friends were also poor relatives from the orphanage. Assuming they were coming to freeload, he was determined to sever ties. He hid the fact that Mom had given birth to me and completely cut off contact with Mrs. Sheng. Therefore, Mrs. Sheng could only rely on a childhood photo to often recall my mother with regret. And Xing Shizhou also saw my mother's youthful appearance in the photo because of this. The constant exposure from childhood made him feel familiar when he saw me. It wasn't until shortly after the meeting that he finally remembered that I looked like the person in the photo and told Mrs. Sheng. After some investigation, Mrs. Xing knew that I was really her best friend's daughter, and that's why she came to me so excitedly. Shufan, I'm so sorry I broke our promise back then. But from now on, I will definitely take good care of your daughter and love her as if she were my own. Mrs. Xing burst into tears. And I reached out to take the old photo handed over by Mrs. Xing, unable to hold back the tears in my eyes. Ever since my mother left, my stepmother said she didn't want to live in the shadow of her predecessor. So all traces of my mother in the house were erased. Not even a single photograph remained. I can only rely on vague memories to miss her, but the memories are becoming increasingly disappointing. So it turns out I look a bit like my mother. That's nice. Mrs. Sheng brought me back to the Sheng family and introduced me to everyone with great fanfare. She immediately decided to adopt me as her goddaughter. No one had any objections until Xing Shizhou hurried in. Absolutely not. Madame Xing was taken aback. What are you saying, you brat? I'm recognizing Gigi as my goddaughter. What are you objecting to? Xing Shizhou's expression didn't change. I just want to be an only child. You can care about her, I support it, but you can't acknowledge her as family. Madame Xing was both angry and embarrassed. Clutching her Hermes bag, she wanted to go hit Xing Shizhou. Her image as a composed, elegant and wealthy lady almost crumbled. I held her back. I figured that the wealthy families are probably very sensitive about these things. Having another goddaughter might represent one more threat to Xing Shizhou in terms of dividing up the family property. That makes sense both emotionally and logically. So from then on, I had one more aunt who cared about me. Other than that, life didn't seem to change much. Busy with projects and improving every day, feeling fulfilled. Gradually, I also freed up and finally had the energy to be distracted and pay attention to what happened to Zhou Xiyan. I heard that on the night I left, the video of him kissing Lin Jiji was exposed. Without thinking, I knew that this was a scene written and directed by Lin Jiji herself. To my surprise, Zhou Xiyan should already know Lin Jiji's true colors through the USB drive. Yet he chose to marry her to deal with this crisis. Could it be that no matter what Lin Jiji is like, he still loves her so much? I just feel like Zhou Xiyan shouldn't be that kind of person. Thinking of those time bombs on him, I suddenly had a guess. It seems that what happens next will be even more exciting. 6 months later, the project was officially completed. We invited the media and originally planned to have this news reported on an important page. Who knew that something else would steal the spotlight? Zhou Xiyan, deputy general manager of Shanghai Yaohui Group, fled abroad to escape punishment for his crime. He absconded with most of the assets. Among them, the most eye-catching was a luxury riverfront mansion. 40 million in full. Zhou Xiyan only paid a down payment and then used it as collateral to extract tens of millions. All taken abroad. The huge debts he left behind can only be borne by his other half, Lin Jiji. Lin Jiji, as someone who knew about his actions, has also been arrested by the police. Not only will she face the recovery of funds, but she will also face criminal charges. I didn't expose Zhou Xiyan's affairs. It must have been his competitors who couldn't restrain themselves and made the first move. I wondered how he would face such a situation. I just didn't expect him to choose this way. It's not just a gecko losing its tail, but also putting Lin Jiji in a terrible situation. But Lin Jiji is not worthy of sympathy. All this is just her own fault. The police issued an arrest warrant for Zhou Xiyan. But someone like him who has fled abroad and made every step flawless. To really bring him back and recover those losses is not an easy task. As long as he doesn't reveal his whereabouts, in a sense he is safe. But I didn't expect that Zhou Xiyan would take such a great risk to find me. Gigi, it's me. That day I received a call from abroad. Unexpectedly, it was Zhou Xiyan's slightly hoarse voice. I don't have much time, so I'll make it brief. I know you're heartbroken because of me, and I don't blame you for the information you have exposing me, but I've truly confirmed my feelings. I really do love you. You've probably seen the news. I'm abroad now, but I have a lot of money. Will you come find me? Let's find a secluded paradise and live a good life together. You said it yourself, home is where I am. Please give me another chance, okay? I can swear to God that from now on, I will truly only love you. Having been together for so long, Zhou Xiyan rarely confessed his feelings to me in such long, elaborate declarations. If he could have given me even half of this sincerity during those 10 years, I don't know how happy I would have been. But how could he think that after so much has happened, everything could go back to the way it was? How could he act as if nothing had happened, using a simple, "I'll love you in the future," to erase all my past pain? I won't look for you. Because I'm very satisfied with my current life. Even more so because I don't love you anymore. The Zhou Xian I thought was upright, sunny, and warm has long disappeared into the past. I want something you can't afford to give. You're not worthy, let alone deserving. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long time. Indeed, I was being cruel and hitting where it hurts most. My words were piercing his heart with every sentence. But there's no other way, every word is the truth. I remained silent until the police gave me an okay sign. Only then did I hang up the phone directly. Yes, from the moment I received his call, I immediately had my colleagues call the police. The reason I listened patiently for so long and spoke those words slowly, those incredibly direct words, were all to buy time. I knew as soon as I said them how much they would hurt him. After all, we'd been together for 10 years and I knew his pride too well. With the little bit of time I managed to buy, the police finally located his IP address. Before long, Zhou Xian was extradited back to China. The embezzled money hadn't been spent yet and it was all returned. I breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe I'm too ruthless. But the money he took away was the hard-earned savings of countless families. I don't think I did anything wrong. It's all about having a clear conscience. A trial began quickly. Zhou Xian and Lin Jiji stood together in the dock. I am innocent, I want to appeal. Lin Jiji was haggard and shouted hoarsely. Silence. The judge banged the gavel but still gave her a chance to defend herself. Lin Jiji was a mess of tears and snot. I'm really innocent, Zhou Xian and I are just friends. The kiss back then was just a game, it wasn't real at all. He's liked me since we were kids but I've always rejected him. All our friends who grew up with us can testify to that. Later, I saw the public opinion blowing up like that and was worried he'd be misunderstood. So I righteously said I'd get a marriage certificate with him. We're just in a fake marriage. Who knew he'd throw dirt on me, wanting me to take the blame and pay off his debts? I was just too kind, that's why I helped this devil. Now I've seen him for who he is, I want to divorce him, and none of this has anything to do with me. Although Lin Jiji looked haggard, she kept shedding tears, her voice choked and trembling. This did elicit some sympathy. Zhou Xian sneered and had the lawyer present the evidence. Lin Jiji used the guise of friendship to return to China with the sole intention of destroying my family. She is a serial homewrecker. Each photo, each video, although pixelated, clearly shows something appalling. And the mole on the neck can match the female lead to Lin Jiji. She shouted in a panic, "It's fake. It's fake." Evidence that can be presented in court has already been authenticated. Her cold words made her shut her mouth in dismay. Zhou Xian continued. After learning about Lin Jiji's true colors, I secretly investigated and found out that her goal after returning to China was to drive away my wife and enjoy the fruits of our labor. After we got married, I intentionally or unintentionally revealed some gray income to her, and she approved of it with both hands. Lin Jiji is not only morally corrupt, but also a knowing participant. In terms of morality, reason and law, she is guilty. Zhou Xian thought he would feel relieved after saying these words. After all, Lin Jiji had been playing him for so long, and even caused his family to fall apart. If he hadn't wanted to prove himself to her, maybe he wouldn't have gone astray and embarked on this path of no return. He should hate Lin Jiji very much. But actually there wasn't much hatred. Deep in his memory, he recalled that proud yet adorable little girl from his childhood. He remembered once when he failed an exam and got a beating from his parents. Hiding alone under the big tree in the backyard, secretly crying. It was Lin Jiji poking her head over the courtyard wall. In her fair little hand she held a piece of milk candy. "Don't cry anymore, I'll give you candy, it'll make you feel sweet inside." At that moment the sunlight fell and she looked like a little angel. But when exactly did Lin Jiji become the way she is now? Or was everything all along just a disguise? Perhaps none of it matters anymore. Importantly, his grievances with Lin Jiji were settled. From now on there would be no owing or being owed, no further involvement. I agreed to divorce Lin Jiji. And I am willing to plead guilty. But before that, Can you give me a chance to see my wife? His eyes were full of pain. I want to see Xiaji. I didn't go to the court hearing. I heard Zhou Xiyan wanted to see me, which was a bit of a surprise. He knew perfectly well that I was the one who provided the clues to the police. That's why he was brought back to China to face imprisonment. Under such circumstances, can he really not resent or hate me? I couldn't make up my mind for a moment. Just then I received a call from Mrs. Xing inviting me to dinner. Gigi, you've lost weight again. You must eat more later. Every time we meet she says I've lost weight. I finally understand what it means to be skinny when your family thinks you're skinny. Actually, seeing other children being cared for by their parents since I was little made me very envious. At that time I thought if my mother were here I would also be a treasure. Unexpectedly, after many years, someone finally loves me again. I think if Mom knew in heaven she would be very gratified and relieved. Usually the Xing family father and son are very busy with work. When I go to the Xing family it's basically just Mrs. Xing and me. Today Xing Shizhou also came bringing his fiancée Su Qingya. I greeted them politely. After Su Qingya responded she kept glancing at me, her expression a little strange. But when my gaze turned towards her she quickly looked away. Left me feeling a little confused. So I simply stopped paying attention. After dinner Mrs. Xing and I went for a walk in the garden. But we discovered two figures sitting on the swing set. It was Xing Shizhou and Su Qingya. Miss Xia is the person you like, right? Yes. What about us? I don't want to scare her and I'm not sure how she feels. How about we maintain the status quo for now? Okay. I was stunned. No wonder Su Qingya has been looking at me like that. The Sheng and Su families were going to be linked by marriage and she was a proper young lady of a wealthy family. Who would have thought she would be so consumed by love? For a man she lowered her bottom line to this extent. She really reminds me of myself in the past. Besides sighing, there was more anger in my heart. I have a very good impression of Xing Shizhou. He is a standard elite from a wealthy family, but he doesn't have a sense of superiority or shirdargan. He is serious and excellent at work. Having such a visually pleasing and professional client is great for me. Who knew he would harbor such thoughts? As someone who has been hurt by a mistress, there's no way I'll ever let him get what he wants in this lifetime. I clenched my fists, and if it weren't for Mrs. Sheng's sake, I would have punched him in the face. He's really asking for it. I just didn't expect Mrs. Sheng to act even faster than me. She immediately took off her high heels and started swinging them ready to strike. Xing Shizhou quickly dodged, not forgetting to protect Su Qingya from being accidentally injured. Mom, you've misunderstood. Misunderstanding what? Have you forgotten the Xing family's teachings? How could you have such thoughts? You really deserve a beating. Mrs. Sheng seemed to radiate righteous light from her entire body. Aunt, you've misunderstood. Su Qingya quickly spoke up. It's not what you think. It's really a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? For Su Qingya's sake, Mrs. Xing put down the shoe. She held my shoulder and quickly put on her shoes. For people sat on the stone bench in the garden. All with solemn expressions. Shizhou and I are in a fake engagement. I like girls and he doesn't like girls, so we decided to cooperate in a fake engagement to silence both families. What? Mrs. Sheng's voice trembled. At this moment her face wore an expression of bitter fate. Son, compared to you causing the Xing family to have no descendants, I think I can accept you being a scumbag more. No, that won't do either, neither will work. You can't be a scumbag. Xing Shizhou rubbed his forehead. This statement is ambiguous. I just haven't had a girl I liked growing up and I find work more interesting. So, rather than marrying someone I don't like and wasting her time, I thought it would be better to cooperate with Qingya. Until the day I saw Gigi. He, who is usually calm and composed, actually blushed slightly. I was very surprised by my reaction when we first met. Even if I saw a familiar face, I shouldn't have asked directly in a work setting. I don't know why, but I just couldn't hold back at the time. It wasn't until later through day-to-day interactions that I understood it was probably what they call love at first sight. So Gigi, you are the first girl I've ever liked. Our Xing family motto is to be faithful from beginning to end. And I will be. I was still stunned when Mrs. Xing belatedly understood. No wonder you wouldn't let me recognize Gigi as my daughter back then, so you had this in mind. Her eyes were full of anticipation, but she still held my hand. Gigi, of course I want you two to be together, to hear you call me mom, but only you know whether a relationship is suitable or not, whether you're willing or not. Just respect your own feelings and don't feel pressured. Yes, it's my business that I like you. Xing Shizhou also said earnestly, don't feel burdened, just be yourself. After Zhou Xian's incident, I always thought I was invulnerable in matters of the heart. I had always followed in Zhou Xian's footsteps, adjusting my life according to him. But now someone is telling me that I can completely be myself. It felt like a string in my heart was gently plucked. Maybe it was being touched, maybe it was a stirring of the heart. I'm not sure, so I'll just leave everything to time. In the end, I didn't go to see Zhou Xian. Everything was made clear in that phone call. For Lin Gigi, he had gone missing and stood me up many times. This time it's my turn not to respond to him. What we had is already in the past. During the second year's National Day holiday, I finished my busy work and went on vacation with Xing Shizhou on an island. Under the bright sunshine, I suddenly received an email. It was a timed email from 10 years ago. The sender was myself. I opened the email, feeling the sea breeze. A series of questions seemed to pull me back to the past. Seeing that version of myself filled with uncertainty and worry about the future. I started replying to the email. So now I am not only happy but also free. Dear Xiaji, peace of mind is home, may we always be as free as the wind. I clicked send. This letter is a reply to myself from 10 years ago. Also written for my future self. The